Part 93. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 921. Chapter 921 I will be yours for the rest of my life. As for those external obstacles, she will regard them as some bumps in their relationship, and she will try to overcome them. He has paid so much for her. She can't just enjoy and accept his kindness without being willing to pay anything to him. This is so unfair to him. Thinking of this, Chiao Mian suddenly put down her chopsticks, and with Mo Yesi's stunned expression, she gently grabbed his hand. Mo Yesi, I will follow you carefully from now on. You said that we will always be together, right? Wrong. Mo Yesi was startled for a moment, and then quickly held her hand behind his back. Yes, I said it. Baby, what's wrong? He felt that Chiao Mian was a little abnormal at this time. Chiao Mian smiled at him. It's nothing, I just feel that you are so good to me, I must not let you down. Mo Yesi stared at her thoughtfully for a moment with his deep black eyes. He gently put his other hand on the top of her hair and rubbed it lovingly. Why do you suddenly feel this way? Is it because I made this meal and you were moved? Yes. Chiao Mian squeezed her fingers between his fingers, with a sweet smile on her lips. She looked up at him and said, I was touched. Suddenly I felt that I had done something good in my previous life. To have such a good husband. Mo Yesi was startled, and the dark color in his eyes deepened. He looked at her deeply, and after a moment, he stroked the top of her hair twice with his big hand, and a slight smile appeared in his eyes. Baby, tell me, have I made you happy? Chiao Mian nodded. At this moment, she felt so happy. Really, Mo Yesi's eyes were gentle, like the moonlight falling on the windowsill on a midsummer night, and his voice was soft and soft. Do you really feel happy after following me? Are those words just from your heart? Chiao Mian nodded heavily again. Well, I'm talking from my heart. Mo Yesi, we will always be together from now on, right? Thinking of the conversation with Mo, she frowned slightly. That conversation ended on bad terms. Since Mo had the idea of divorcing her and Mo Yesi, she would definitely not let it go easily. The negotiation failed that time, so I'm afraid she won't give up. Chiao Mian can strengthen her heart. Mo Yesi is not a mama's boy, and there is an old lady who she can rely on, so she is not very afraid of Mo getting in the way. She was only worried that Mo could not touch her and would touch the people around her. If push comes to shove, such a thing may not be impossible. Thinking of this incident, Chiao Mian hesitated whether to tell Mo Yesi. Of course Mo Yesi didn't know what she was thinking. He mistook her worry for fear of being separated from him. He held her hand tightly, held her hand to his lips, lowered his head and kissed the back of her hand gently. Click. The man's voice was gentle and gentle. You have married me, and you will be my woman for the rest of your life. You must stay with me, and you can only stay with me. What about you? The man's domineering words were full of possessiveness, but Chiao Mian felt particularly sweet in her heart. She raised the corners of her lips and said, I will be your woman in this life, so will you also be the same in this life? Can it only be my man? You can only stay with me. Yes. Mo Yesi held her hand, like a devout knight, and kissed the back of her hand. My dear wife, I will be yours for the rest of my life. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 922. Chapter 922. Did someone tell you something? That cry of my dear wife is extremely endearing and sultry. Chiao Mian's little heart couldn't help but beat violently again. Baby, you know. I'm really happy that you said these words to me today. Mo Yesi kissed the back of her hand, raised his head, stared at her tenderly and dotingly, and whispered, for me, being able to give you happiness is something I have been striving for. If I make you feel happy, that means I have succeeded, right? This is the thing that gives me the most sense of accomplishment among all the things I have done. Maybe what I am doing now is not good enough, but I will continue to work hard in the future to give you more happiness, and I will make you happy forever. You don't regret marrying me? The joy on his face was undisguised. The corners of his eyebrows and eyes are all exposed. Chiao Mian could tell that he was really happy. He was like a child who had been affirmed, his eyes and face were full of joy. He said this was the most fulfilling thing for him. He also said that what he is doing now is not good enough and he will work harder in the future. But in her opinion, he has done a good enough job. He was so nice that she started to worry about gains and losses. She will start to worry that one day, they will be separated for some reason. She will worry that he will be tired one day, and suddenly one day he will not be so kind to her. She will also worry about many problems. Once you start to care, you also start to worry about gains and losses. She will start to fear losing. These emotions were something she had never felt before. Mo Yesi, no matter what happens, will you never leave me? Chiao Mian looked at him blankly for a while and asked softly. The man nodded without any hesitation, I will never leave you. What if? Chiao Mian thought about MRSMO again and hesitated whether to say it. What if? What if someone doesn't like us being together and objects to us being together? Huh? What does it have to do with us whether others like us being together? Besides, it is others' turn to object to the matters between us. Honey, no one has the right to interfere or object to the choices I make. After Mo Yesi finished speaking, he glanced at her thoughtfully. Baby, why do you suddenly ask about this? Did someone tell you something? No, I'm just asking. Chiao Mian finally decided not to tell him about MRSMO. He and MRSMO had already had a conflict. If she told him about it again, she was afraid that mother and son would be in trouble. The two will cause conflict again. This is not what she wants to see. After MRSMO talked to her that time, there was no further follow-up for the time being. She decided to observe for a while. If MRSMO causes something bad again, she will decide whether to tell Mo Yesi or not. Mo Yesi looked at her deeply again, not believing that she just asked casually. He half squinted his eyes and thought for a moment. Although he still had questions in his heart, he did not continue to ask further. Since she didn't want to say anything, he continued to ask, but he couldn't get anything out. Let's eat first. Chiao Mian avoided his probing gaze, put a piece of diced chicken into his bowl, and said, this dish is my specialty, but I haven't made it for a long time. How do you like it? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 923. Chapter 923. It turns out that the feeling of having a home is so wonderful. Mo Yesi didn't continue the topic. He picked up the chopsticks and picked up the diced chicken that Chiao Mian put in his bowl. How is it? Chiao Mian looked at him expectantly. Is the chicken too old? Is it tasty enough? Chiao Mian is still a little confident in her cooking skills. Although her cooking skills are definitely not comparable to those of the chef, they are still at a level that is better than that of a chef. Especially this plate of Kung Pao chicken, which is one of her specialties. She had done it for Suzy twice before, and Suzy was full of praise for both times. Mo Yesi chewed it carefully, and after swallowing the food in his mouth, he turned his head to look at her and said, it's delicious. Really? A happy smile appeared on Chiao Mian's face. You didn't lie to me, did you? If you think it doesn't taste good, you can tell me directly. I'm not afraid of being hit. I'm not lying to you, Mo Yesi said seriously, it's delicious, it's the most delicious dish I've ever eaten since I was a kid. Chiao Mian Mian. Even if it is to make her happy, this is too exaggerated. She still knows what level she is at. As a person who has been eating dishes specially prepared for him by senior chefs since he was a child, he has no idea how picky his food is. Her home-cooked dishes probably wouldn't even impress him. Really, Mo Yesi seemed to be afraid that she wouldn't believe it, so he emphasized it again seriously, I really think this is the most delicious dish I have ever eaten. The taste is very special and very special. It is very different from other dishes. No, the same. It tastes very special. Chiao Mian Mian supported her chin with one hand and blinked curiously, what's so special about it? I can't describe it. Mo Yesi curled his lips and said softly, it probably tastes like home, so it's very different. Baby, this is the dish you personally cooked for me. I will definitely cook it all. Eat it all. Yes, it feels like home. So, this is a unique taste. No one else can do it except her. At this moment, Mo Yesi looked at the people sitting next to him and then at the food on the table, feeling happier and satisfied than he had ever felt before. It turns out that it feels so wonderful to have a home. Asterisk. Mo Yesi was very generous with this meal. He almost finished the 2 dishes Chiao Mian Mian cooked. As for the steaks and ribs he cooked, Chiao Mian Mian only tasted them before he was forced to throw them into the trash can for disposal. In his words, he was worried that she would have a bad stomach. After dinner, Chiao Mian Mian was rushed to the living room to watch TV. She wanted to help clear away the dishes on the table and take them to the kitchen, but he refused. Chiao Mian Mian leaned lazily on the sofa in the living room, stretching herself out and looking at the man running back and forth between the dining room and the kitchen. She was so happy that she couldn't help but take out her phone and take a picture of him clearing away the leftovers on the table. Photo. After taking the photo, she photoshopped it and posted it on WeChat Moments with his photo. She distributes it in groups, so some people can see it and some people can't. Those who can see are the people who know that she and Mo Yesi are together. As soon as she posted it in her circle of friends, she received a like and comment from Linda. Linda commented, I ate this wave of dog food first. When Chiao Mian Mian saw that her agent had commented to her, she immediately replied, Sister Xie, have you eaten? Linda, well, I just ate it. Are you free now? Can you answer the phone? End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 924. Chapter 924 Don't run to the hospital. As soon as Chiao Mian Mian saw Linda asking her this question, she knew that she must have something to do with her. She logged out of WeChat and called Linda. Sister Xie, do you have anything to do with me? Chiao Mian Mian asked directly after Linda got through. Well, I already know about Huang Yilin bringing sulfuric acid to the set. How is Tu Yuli's condition now? Is the burn on the back of his hand serious? Chiao Mian Mian guessed that she must be asking about this, so he told her all about Tu Yuli. After hearing this, Linda breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it's not too serious and I can recover. Otherwise. Halfway through, she was silent for a few seconds, and then her tone changed slightly from before. I always thought that the scandal between you and Tu Yuli was just hyped up by someone with intentions. But now it seems that he really has that affection for you. Thoughts? Mian Mian, what do you think? What do I think? Chiao Mian Mian felt that Linda asked a bit strangely, I have no idea. Sister Xie, you know that I have a boyfriend, and we have a good relationship. Well, I know. Linda was silent for a while before she said, Mian Mian, since you don't have any thoughts about him, then keep your distance from him. What are the adverse consequences of getting too close to him? I think you have already knew. Moreover, he was injured this time because of you. It's okay that his fans don't know, but once they know, you will be besieged by his fans miserably. I heard that you took care of him in the hospital for a long time today. Yeah, Xiao Mian didn't hide anything, Sister Xie, I know everything you said. It's just because he was injured because of me, so I can't just sit back and ignore it. It's my duty to go to the hospital to take care of him. Things to do. I didn't say it shouldn't be. It's just that there are a lot of people coming in and out of the hospital, so if you are photographed, the injury on the back of his hand will definitely not heal for a while. You can't run to the hospital every day, right? And in his case, I'm afraid the leading actor will have to change. This matter can't be kept hidden for a while, and it can't be kept hidden forever. By then, his fans will definitely make a fuss. Mian, I suggest you take the opportunity to keep your distance from him. You appreciate him and want to repay him, and this is not the only way. And he has such thoughts about you. If you go to the hospital every day like this, he will misunderstand you. Just listen to me and find someone to go to the hospital for you every day. If you really feel sorry for yourself, you can give him he called and cared about him. But don't run to the hospital. Xiao Mian was silent for a long time. She knew what Linda was worried about. She had considered all the things Linda had considered. She also thought that healing the burn on the back of Tu Yuli's hand would definitely not be something that could be done in a day or two. It will take a long time to recover from those wounds. During this period, he probably had to put down a lot of work. With his current worth, his work would definitely be postponed to the next year. But just because he helped her, a lot of his work was affected. The silence during the peak period must have had a great impact on his career. She felt more and more guilty and uneasy. Because she suddenly discovered that the blow that Tu Yuli blocked for her would not only cause harm to his body. It also had a great impact on his career future. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 925. Chapter 925. You also have a rich and powerful husband. She owes him a lot more than she imagined. It seems that no matter how you pay it back, it is impossible to pay it off. Asterisk. Mo Yesi packed up and came out of the kitchen. Seeing Xiao Mian sitting on the sofa in a daze with her cell phone in hand, looking worried, he walked over quickly, sat down next to her, stretched out his hand and took her into his arms. What are you thinking about? He looked down at her mobile phone. Did someone call you just now? Xiao Mian looked up at him, with confusion in her eyes. Well, Sister Xie called me. That agent of yours, why did she call you? She told me something related to Tu Yuli. That boy named Tu. Mo Yesi frowned when he heard his love rival's name, and his tone was not very good. What does it have to do with him? Sister Xie told me not to go to the hospital to see him, otherwise I would easily get into trouble. Xiao Mian was worried and needed someone to talk to and help her analyze, so she told her everything Linda had said to her. Mo Yesi. After Mo Yesi listened, he was silent for a few seconds, then rubbed her head and said, well, I think what your agent said is very reasonable. There is indeed no need to go to the hospital to see him every day. That kid has bad intentions for you. I wish you would take care of him every day. You are grateful, but he doesn't think so in his heart. But, I feel I owe him a lot. Xiao Mian frowned. He was injured because of me, and his work was also affected. Sister Xie said that his male lead will definitely be replaced. I feel very sorry for him. You don't know that with his current popularity, suddenly withdrawing from the public eye will have a huge impact on him. And before his hand recovers, some of the commercials he accepts may not be able to be shot. I really can't make up for his losses. So, you feel guilty and sorry for him. Xiao Mian bit the corner of her lip and nodded lightly, yes. Then let me help you make it up to him. Mo Yesi wrote lightly, when he recovers, I will give him a better male lead than he is now. As for the economic losses caused by his injury, I will double make it up to him. I can give him whatever resources he wants in the future. I guarantee that his career will not be affected in any way due to this injury, and I can also make him more popular. In this case, will you not have any psychological burden? Chiao Mian raised her head in surprise. You. Baby, don't forget, you also have a rich and powerful husband. Mo Yesi curled his lips. Didn't I say that if you can't solve it, let your husband help you solve it? Although I think that boy it's very unpleasant, and I don't like her very much, but he saved you, and I am grateful to him in this matter. Don't worry, I will make it up to him. To him, these are all small things. It's not worth her trouble at all. He felt very unhappy when he thought that she was actually worried about that brat named Tu. She could not think of any other man except him. Especially the brat named Tu. That brat is so bad that he dares to covet her. If it weren't for the fact that he helped to block the sulfuric acid this time, he would have already thought about punishing him. Are you really going to help him? Chiao Mian finally felt a little better. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 926. Chapter 926. Mo Yesi, thank you. Of course Mo Yesi hugged her and sighed softly. No matter how much I don't like that boy, he is still your benefactor. Besides, if you keep owing him, you will always think of him in your heart, and I don't want my wife is always thinking about other men. Anyway, don't worry about this anymore. I promise, his work will not be affected. Do you feel a little better now? Chiao Mian nodded with a smile on his face. For her, she already felt sorry for Tu Yuli for letting him get hurt. If this incident affects his career prospects again, she will really feel guilty for the rest of her life. It has to be said that Mo Yesi's promise and guarantee reduced her guilt a lot. Finally, my heart is not so blocked. She knew that he had this ability. As long as he promises something, he will definitely do it. He is Mo Yesi, the youngest president in the history of Mo Group. The person who controls the economic lifeline of the entire country. His promises are never empty words. Chiao Mian raised her eyes and looked at the man's deep and handsome face, and the sweetness and warmth in her heart could not be suppressed. She hesitated for a moment, then took the initiative to come to his lips and kissed him. Mo Yesi, thank you. Think about how her life has become very smooth since she married him. Because even if something goes wrong, he will quickly help her solve it. She used to solve whatever problems she encountered by herself. She doesn't know what it feels like to rely on someone. But now, she has a home, a husband, and someone she can rely on. She no longer has to bear everything on her own. No matter what happens now, she knows that she will no longer face it alone. The man beside her who has become her husband will help her solve everything. How lucky she was to meet Mo Yesi. This man is too good. God is too kind to her, so he must send such a good man to her. She will definitely cherish this man. The man was obviously not very satisfied with her fleeting kiss. As soon as she pulled away, he pulled her back again. His hand clasped the back of her head, his handsome and deep face lowered, he touched the corner of her lips lightly, and whispered in his throat, "You just want to send me away with a thank you, eh?" Chiao Mian blinked and swallowed. Then what else do you want? Mo Yesi pretended to think for a moment and whispered, "At least call my husband to listen." "Baby, I want to hear you call me husband." Chiao Mian. This request is not difficult for you, right? Can you please call me husband? Chiao Mian looked at the man's handsome face in front of her, her cheeks couldn't help but feel hot, she bit the corner of her lip and hesitated for a while, then softly called out, "Husband." Mo Yesi's eyes narrowed, scream again. Chiao Mian Mian. Be good, call me again. Thinking of his various good performances today, Chiao Mian Mian also responded to his requests. She blinked her dark and moist eyes and called out again, husband. Her voice was originally soft and sweet. Normally she talks softly and sweetly, but the soft and sweet voice she gave her just now was as if she was covered in honey, so sweet that it touched people's hearts. Mo Yesi's heart dropped at the sound of husband. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 927. Chapter 927. It must be intentional. The moment the man's warm and moist lips covered her, Chiao Mianmian's body couldn't help but trembled, and she spoke with a trembling voice, what reward do you want? Well, let me think about it. Mo Yesi rubbed her lips gently, and when he kissed the corner of her lips, he opened his mouth and bit it gently. He seemed to regard her lips as some kind of delicious food. After tasting them several times, he murmured in a hoarse voice, I want you, is it okay? Chiao Mian Mian had already been dizzy from his kiss, and she suddenly came back to her senses. She held him down, Mo Yesi, no. Call me husband. The man held her little hand domineeringly, lowered his head and kissed her again, why not? I've counted the time, and your aunt hasn't come this month yet. Chiao Mian Mian. He actually still remembers her aunt's time. She herself didn't remember much about it. Chiao Mian Mian felt particularly subtle when she thought that this man remembered her aunt just to have with her. Isn't he an abstinent male god? Isn't he very pure and celibate? The man in front of her who was thinking about having with her every day, how could he be so reticent? Every time he looked like he wanted to eat her up, like a hungry wolf, and it clearly had nothing to do with the word purity and asceticism. But, I want to rest early. Chiao Mian Mian was already trembling in his arms thinking of his terrible physical strength. Husband, I don't feel well today. I want to go to bed early. Can you do it another day? She pulled the man's arm, softened her voice, and acted coquettishly, pretending to be pitiful. She thought this would make him soften her heart, but little did she know that in the eyes of men, her appearance was inviting people to sin. As soon as she called her husband, Mo Yesi couldn't bear it. The man's eyes were burning, and he turned over and pressed her under him. Asterisk. In the end, Chiao Mianmian's protest was in vain and she was eaten up and wiped clean by the man. This sleep lasted until the next day. When she opened her eyes, Mo Yesi was no longer beside her. Chiao Mian rubbed her eyes and got up. She took out her mobile phone and was about to call Mo Yesi when she heard the sound of the door opening outside. Asterisk. The next day. When Chiao Mian opened her eyes, Mo Yesi was no longer beside her. She rubbed her eyes and got up. She took out her mobile phone and was about to call Mo Yesi when she heard the sound of the door opening outside. She got out of bed and walked out of the bedroom and walked to the living room, where she saw Mo Yesi walking in from the outside with 2 bags in his hands. Seeing her, he curled his lips and walked towards her quickly. First, he put the things in his hands on the shelf aside, then reached out to take her into his arms, lowered his head and kissed her. When did you wake up? Are you hungry? I bought breakfast and came back. Have you washed up? No, if so, go and wash up quickly and come out to have breakfast together. When he lowered his head to kiss her, Chiao Mian stretched out her hand to stop him. No, I haven't rinsed my mouth yet. I don't mind. Mo Yesi pulled her hand away, kissed her lips again, and chuckled, my baby is always sweet and delicious. Chiao Mian. You went downstairs to buy breakfast, she glanced at the bags he put on the shelf. I also went to exercise. There is a gym here. If you want to exercise, I can take you there. Mo Yesi rubbed her head, his eyes fell on the obvious hickeys on her neck, and the corners of his lips curled up. There was a hint of satisfaction. These hickeys were specially made by him last night. You can see it at a glance. Let's forget it. Chiao Mian is a lazy person. Fortunately, lazy people are blessed with laziness. She has a physique that does not allow her to gain weight. Even if she does not strictly manage her figure, she has never gained weight. So she has never had strict diet control like other female celebrities. For her, if she has to strictly control what she wants to eat, and must endure not being able to eat when she wants to eat, then what fun is there in life? That's all she pursues. Among them, food is one of her great pursuits. Fortunately, Linda did not have strict requirements on her diet, and there was no mandatory requirement for what she could and could not eat. This point, Chiao Mian is still very satisfied. Of course, she is not a person without the ability to control herself. She doesn't want to restrict herself too much in her diet because she knows that she will not gain weight. If she has the kind of body that is easy to gain weight, she will definitely not be able to do whatever she wants like now. Mo Yesi just mentioned it casually. Seeing that she wasn't interested, he didn't mention it again. I'm going to wash up. Chiao Mian let go and moved the tip of her nose. She smelled the aroma of seafood and suddenly felt a little hungry. Well, let's go. Mo Yesi rubbed her head. I'll take out the breakfast. You can come out to eat after you wash up. Good. Asterisk. When Chiao Mian went to the bathroom to wash up, she saw the hickeys on her neck in the mirror. She stood in front of the mirror and looked at it for a long time, sighing in amusement and helplessness. This man. It must be intentional. The two of them agreed last night to go to the hospital to see Tu Yuli together today. Chiao Mian also thought that Tu Yuli would definitely not be able to leave the hospital for a while. She ran to the hospital every day and was easily photographed. At that time, if there is another scandal with Tu Yuli, his fans will definitely be dissatisfied again. Furthermore, because Bai Yusheng had greeted him on the set before, the news of Tu Yuli's injury has not yet spread. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 928. Chapter 928. Mo Yesi, this man, is too spendthrift. She ran to the hospital every day, which could easily expose this matter. As Linda said, once Tu Yuli's fans know that Tu Yuli was injured because of her, I'm afraid she will be attacked wildly by his fans. The most important thing is that she doesn't want to give Tu Yuli any hope. After confirming that Tu Yuli had thoughts about her, she thought about keeping a distance from him. It's just that he was injured because of her, and it seemed too unkind for her to keep her distance now. However, when he had that kind of thoughts about her, she went to the hospital every day to take care of him, and it was easy for him to have other thoughts. So letting Mo Yesi go to the hospital with her is undoubtedly the best way. And that man Mo Yesi knew that he was going to the hospital today, so he deliberately left so many hickeys on her neck. This was really childish. But this is not the first day that Chiao Mian has known that he will become childish at some point. So now, I'm used to it. Whenever Mo Yesi becomes childish, you can be 100% sure that he is jealous. After Chiao Mian washed up, she went directly to the dining room. Mo Yesi has already brought out all the breakfast. The table is full, and there are many of Chiao Mian's favorite foods. Come here. He saw her and waved to her. After Chiao Mian sat down, he placed a piece of seafood porridge in front of her table. Eat some porridge first to warm your stomach. Then eat something else. Oh. Chiao Mian was hungry. She looked at the steaming and colorful porridge in the bowl and took a spoonful of it. After just one taste, my appetite was whetted. The seafood porridge that Mo Yesi bought has a very fresh taste. You can taste that it is made from fresh seafood, so the umami taste is very strong. He is such a picky person. If it's not the freshest, he certainly won't want it. Chiao Mian ate less than half the bowl in one go. Mo Yesi saw that she had been eating porridge, and put some other vegetables into her bowl. Don't just eat porridge, try these egg dumplings, they taste very good too. And these soup dumplings, listen. It is said to be an old store that has been open for more than 50 years. When I went to buy it, there were so many people queuing up. Chiao Mian couldn't help but raise her head and look at him. Did you queue up to buy this bun? How long did you wait in line? She had a hard time imagining Mo Yesi standing in line outside a steamed bun shop. I always feel that it doesn't match his style. No, after the man put a bun into her bowl, he picked up the milk on the table and took a slow sip. Then he said calmly, I jumped in the queue and asked the boss to sell it to me first. Chiao Mian, ahem, cough, cough, you jumped in line? No one said anything about you. No. Mo Yesi took another sip of milk and said slowly, I compensated them. They were very happy and agreed to let me be the first in line. Chiao Mian. So, how much did you spend on this bun? Not much. Mo Yesi said lightly, don't worry about how much the buns cost, try it and see how it tastes. Chiao Mian. She always felt that this bun must be a sky-high price bun. Mo Yesi, this man, is too prodigal. Fortunately, if you have money, you can do whatever you want. Thinking that this was the breakfast he bought specially, Chiao Mian took a bite of it immediately. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 929. Chapter 929. Are you crazy? It is indeed a signature old store, and the taste is really good. How is it? Is it delicious? Mo Yesi asked her. She swallowed the food in her mouth and nodded, yeah, it's quite delicious. If you like it, I'll buy it for you tomorrow morning. Chiao Mian heard what he meant and said she would not leave F City for a while. Do you really want to stay? Is your job really okay? She is of course happy that he stays here in F City. The two are almost in a passionate relationship now. Even if she is not that clingy character, she still hopes to spend more time with him. It's just that she doesn't want to delay his work because of her. Mo Yesi answered the question inappropriately, raised his eyebrows and chuckled, you don't want me to stay? No. So you want me to stay? Then I'll stay with you, okay. But, will it really not delay your work? She blinked, although I really want you to stay, if it will affect your work, you should go back. He just took over the Mo family not long ago. Many things need to be done by him personally. Baby, you are more important than work. The man looked at her with deep eyes and said softly, since you want me to stay, then I will stay. As for my work, you don't have to worry about it. I have already taken care of it, it's arranged, it won't have any impact. Okay. Hearing what he said, Chiao Mian felt relieved. Asterisk. After breakfast, the two went to the hospital together. Arrived outside Tu Yuli's ward, Chiao Mian heard a quarrel coming from the ajar door. Listening carefully, it seemed that Tu Yuli and his agent were arguing about something. Tu Yuli's voice was a little cold, I know what to do about my own affairs. Mike, you are just my agent. We are partners externally and friends privately. You may have too much control over some things. Do I take too much care? If you don't do things that don't make me worry, do you think I want to take care of you? I know you don't like me taking care of you, but what did I tell you before? If you listened, you wouldn't be lying here now. Yuli, please wake up. Do you know how much we have lost because of this incident? I talked with the partner many times about the VK endorsement, and it was not easy to negotiate. Do you know how many people there were at that time? Are you competing for this endorsement? They are also popular celebrities, and their qualifications are no less than yours. It's okay now, this endorsement that I finally negotiated will probably fall through just because of your injury. It will take at least a year and a half to recover from the injury on your hand. Do you think people will wait for you for so long? After a period of silence, Tuyuli said again, if you can't wait any longer, then terminate the contract. Terminate the contract, Mike's voice suddenly increased, are you crazy? If we take the initiative to terminate the contract, do you know how much the termination fee will be? Even if we don't take the initiative, they will. You also said that I can't shoot commercials now, and they won't keep waiting for me. You said it so easily. Mike's voice was trembling with anger. Except for VK's endorsement, your other endorsements won't be able to be filmed, and your contracts will have to be terminated. The termination fee alone is an astronomical sum. I'm afraid that all the money you have earned in the past few years will be used for the termination fee. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 930. Chapter 930. This is my boyfriend, his surname is Mo. Tuyuli, why didn't you think carefully before doing something? Why were you so impulsive? Now that you have created such a bad situation, how can I clean up the mess for you? Forget it. If you terminate the contract, you still have money to compensate anyway. At worst, you can just think that these few years have been in vain. But, do you know what your silence now means? Let alone a year and a half, you have been silent for a month. Someone will soon forget you. In 1 year, just wait and drink the northwest wind. I think Xiao Mian is your nemesis. You have been very lucky in the past few years, but you encountered such bad luck when you met her. You should stay away from this kind of woman. It's good for her. It's obvious that they were after her, but she's fine now. You were injured and suffered such a big loss because of her, and you didn't see how grateful she was to shed tears. Humph, you can only do so much for your efforts. Touch yourself and see if she can remember your kindness. Mike. Am I wrong? You are a fool. Can you get anything in exchange for your wishful thinking? I can't even get one in return. For the sake of a woman, you ruined your career. My hard work over the past few years to help you get to where you are now is all in vain. If I had known you didn't cherish everything now, I shouldn't have been here. So much time and effort wasted on you. You really me off. Outside the ward. Mo Yesi's face darkened as he listened to the conversation between the two people inside, with a somewhat cold look on his face. He put his arm around Xiao Mianmian's waist and stretched out his hand to push open the door. Inside the room, the two people who were talking were startled. Mike turned his head and was about to ask with an angry look who was so rude and came in without knocking. The words were on his lips. When he saw Mo Yesi walking in expressionlessly, he was stunned. And swallowed back the words that had already reached his lips. The angry expression on his face turned into astonishment. He only met Mo Yesi once. It was that time in the hotel. However, he was very impressed by Mo Yesi. The moment his eyes fell on Mo Yesi's face, he immediately recognized the person. The unique and powerful aura of a man. Once you see it, you will never forget it again. When he saw Xiao Mian coming in with Mo Yesi again, his expression froze again. Thinking that they might have heard what he just said, his expression changed several times in a short period of time. In the hospital bed, Tuyuli's face froze when he saw the two people walking in hand, but soon his face returned to normal. Good morning, Miss Xiao, he greeted politely, pretending to be meeting Mo Yesi for the first time, and asked doubtfully, I wonder what I should call the gentleman next to you. Senior 2, good morning. Xiao Mian thought for a moment and introduced him with a smile, this is my boyfriend, his surname is Mo. Knowing that Senior 2 was injured because of me, he said he must come with me to face me. Thank you very much. Your surname is Mo. Tuyuli's expression suddenly changed when he looked at Mo Yesi's deep and handsome face and his natural nobility. Thinking of a certain possibility, a flash of shock flashed in his eyes. When he raised his head to look at Mo Yesi again, his eyes were full of inquiry, and he asked tentatively, I wonder if Mr. Mo has any relationship with the Mo group. End of this chapter.